so good to see you, Hailey and Shallom. So we really just wanted to get two of our all-star entrepreneurs together to talk to each other and to share strategy and to just find out how you guys are navigating through this, unprecedented world event. So Shallom, please meet Hailey. So Hailey founded the first Dots Cupcakes in 2006 without capital and without even knowing how to bake. She expanded to a second Dots Cupcake location, and then in 2018, she opened up Dots Café, a full-service sit-down restaurant in her own retail complex, which was financed through East West Bank. And Hailey meets Shallom, the legendary Shallom. Shallom founded the first Urth Café in 1991, serving heirloom, shade-grown, certified organic coffee, fine tea, health-conscious meals, and baked goods. Now Urth Café has 9 locations in Southern California, as well as in Las Vegas, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Dubai.
It's such an honor to even be speaking to you. I've been to Urth when you started in Melrose. Is that your first store?
Yes, you're a founding customer. Thank you.
So I want to say, I think you're a pioneer in the cafe kind of coffee industry. And I think without you starting your business, I actually wouldn't have started my own.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you, Hailey. That's beautiful. Thank you. One of the shocking experiences to me is how much pain and fear and stress that our customers bring with them into the stores. I feel like every day it's almost like a battle zone. And this is something very unexpected. We have the people who come in and refuse to wear a mask and get very angry when we try to very politely ask them or enforce that. There can be a huge scene. And then on the other hand, we have the people that see that and they're very scared of COVID. They see someone who refuses to put their mask on, and then we start getting hate from that side. Oh, you don't care, you're not safe, this is terrible, we're calling the health department. And it seems like we're caught in between these two extremes, fear and anxiety and anger. And not only that, it's become very common for people to make racial accusations. And that's very painful. It's of course untrue, it's very painful, but that's a painful reality to deal with. And this is how we deal with it. My wife and I have told our team that during these 3 months of lockdown, we realized that we have such a desire to socialize, to have human interaction, to get out of the house. And everyone coming in, even with anxiety, has this deep need to be around people. And this is the moment to rise above the fear, the pain, and really do true service. Really serve from the heart with kindness and compassion. And this is what our community wants and needs. And so this is a daily coaching because we have people quitting, we have people also stressing out and screaming, and we have all kinds of crazy things going on. So every day we're now coaching and creating a focus of kindness and compassion. And that is very exciting and satisfying.
You say communicating with compassion and kindness. Is that something that you're reinforcing with your staff? Because they're scared too, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. How we're communicating it is in a 5-minute meeting before each shift every single day. We're also communicating it in a weekly management meeting with managers only. And we also wrote a memo, but I would say it's more inspiring than a memo. just this whole philosophy. We've documented it and we sent it to all of our employees to sign and ask for their commitment to do this. But I'm happy to say that it's backed up on a daily basis as well.
For us, we haven't had too many people who not have a mask, but we also provide masks. Like let's say a customer came in and didn't have one. We also had disposable masks for them just in case. So we had that issue, but just touching on what Shallom said about in terms of, you know, customers and compassion and care. And I think that, well, you have so many stores, right? So you have, I mean, how many employees do you have that you have to follow these rules?
500.
500. So I don't know how you can manage 500 because I'm in the, you know, less than 25. And I think even with 25, it's really challenging to get your message across. And so when we pivot our business into, like, we serve dinner, we've been doing families dinners for the last 4 months. And for example is, you know, a lot of families have like substitutions, right? They don't want cheese or onions or something very minor. And as an employee's point of view, they say, you know, we can't do that or we forget. And the approach is, what I tell my employees is, well, think of this as your aunt, or think of this as your family member who, you know, can't eat dairy or can't eat onions. And then when you think of it as a family member, your customer, I think it really changes your perspective on how you deal with each order. And so for us, tonight, like we're serving 80 families, and every family kind of has some kind of restrictions or can't eat this or that. But how do we navigate it and do it well is every time somebody walks in the store, we say, think of that as your long lost aunt or your cousin. And it kind of changes really your perspective on how you treat the customers. And we don't always get it right, but I think that kind of changes our mentality. It even changes my mentality too.
So Shalom, how have you handled it with these masks and with people not wanting to wear masks?
We did assign one officer to be strictly COVID enforcement that goes to each branch every day and makes sure, coaches the managers and checks the staff and checks how we're dealing with the guests, the customers. And of course we have the signs too. And you know, we've gotten into a few situations where people have refused to follow. And we've actually had, in West Hollywood, Melrose, a city inspector come and threaten to shut us down because there were some guests that refused to wear the mask. And they told us that we have to call the police and we have to have them removed. And our legal team actually called the city of West Hollywood and told them, no, we're not going to put our clients at risk of this liability. But we try to do it in the most friendliest way possible, is all I can say. We try to do the compassionate approach and just talk to them in the most friendly and compassionate way. But we have to follow whatever the city ordinance is. So, you know, we have to refuse to serve. That's the only kind of enforcement. I'm not willing to call the police on a customer, but we can refuse service.
Wow, tough calls there, boy. And that's on top of everything else. So in terms of pivoting, what have you guys had to do?
We're in the celebration business. So all the birthday parties, any gathering, baby showers, all of that was pretty much canceled in large groups. We realized that family dinners are people getting together because a lot of people weren't going to work. And people were homeschooling and moms and dads were really busy working from home and also homeschooling, is that we decided we were going to celebrate the family dinner. And growing up, my parents worked all the time. But what I remember was sitting down and having dinner. And so we really spent all our energy, probably in the first couple of weeks, creating dinners. And we did different dinners almost every single night for the last 4 months. We've, tweaked a little bit and did some comebacks from some popular ones. But we did a meal where there was an entree, some protein, some vegetables, and included a dessert. And we charged each family $40, and it feeds between 4 to 6 people. And that's not, we've never been the dinner business. So we're a typical cafe in terms of we have a sit down and we have coffee and cupcakes and breakfast and lunch. We had never served dinner, and we've never done takeout in this capacity. So, I mean, even little things like packaging and things we weren't prepared for. And in the beginning stages, distribution for, from our distributors it was almost non-existent. So people didn't have, the distributors didn't have flour, didn't have eggs. And if they did have it, I mean, they were charging, I'm assuming because supply and demand, they were charging, 3-4 times what we were originally paying. So when, typical, like we buy 15 dozen eggs, it costs about $18 to $20. Now it was costing $45. And so it was navigating through how do we get supplies, going to different vendors. In the beginning, we were going to probably 6 stores a day because the distributor would drop off and then we were short, some items for dinner. So we were going to 6 stores, waiting in lines, just getting enough supplies just to supply the dinners. And we never passed on actually the food costs to the consumer in the beginning stages because we really wanted to keep that price point at $40. And to be honest, there's meals we didn't make any money. We probably lost a lot of money, but there was meals where, we probably made up for it a little bit. So we try to think of it as a 7 days of a balance sheet as opposed to just one meal. So, pivoting in terms of not just, doing the dinners, but also how do we provide dinners where originally we thought only a family would come maybe once a week to take care of 1 or 2 dinners. But then we had families coming 5 times a week. So we couldn't do the same food every single day. And so we had to, we started doing Asian food and Greek food and Mexican. And it's not typical food on our menu. And we brought in a chef that was really versatile and could kind of do different takes on different meals. So that was probably the biggest change in our business that kept our employees employed, kept distributors coming to us, dropping off food. And then the families coming in. And so when then the families come in, sometimes they will buy cupcakes or sometimes they will buy drinks. So really for us, that was the biggest, turning point for us. And I'll have to see, Shallom, when I look at the Urth menu, I admire your business so much, is what I notice about your menu is, I noticed this really early on, is that, like, for example, you have like tamales on your menu. And it might not be a typical maybe cafe fare, or like if it fit into a box of like American cuisine. But just over the years, looking at your menu and how you've been versatile with it, and it wasn't something like you couldn't do tamales because it's Mexican, and you couldn't do, prosciutto on pizza. And so I've always looked at your menu and got a lot of inspiration off that you can do a lot of different things and you can do it well.
Well,
So
thank you.
that's definitely from going to your restaurants and kind of experiencing what you have done.
Thank you. Well, a little bit about our situation. It's Urth Café, of course, is really a place where people gather. That's sort of the most important part of our experience. And to go and delivery had traditionally been a very small part of our business. I would say about 4%. And my wife, Gila, she's really a visionary. I will tell you that 1 week before the lockdown, she said, we have to close our stores and go takeout and delivery only. And I said, what? No, we're not going to do that until it's mandated. Why do we have to lose business? She said, I'm telling you, that's what we have to do. And I said, okay, let's do it. And she was 100% right. A week later, when it came, we were prepared, we were organized, and we were already had days of doing only delivery and takeout. And it rose to about 20% of our revenues before. And unfortunately, before the pandemic, we did have 800 employees. And so we went down to 400 and we're back up to 500. When the seating reopened, and we were able to reopen with 50% capacity. That was great, and sales increased quite a bit, maybe 70%. And then now it's gone down again because, you know, you can only have outdoor seating. So I would say it's down to 50 or 60%. It's helped us learn how to control costs with labor and control costs in every area just to survive and to stay afloat. So that's good. I guess when this is all over, we'll have a excellent new style of operation. The takeout and delivery will have good technology in place for that, and hopefully, if the gathering and the coming back into the cafe, if that goes back up to what it was before, and we can still keep these larger takeout and delivery, maybe in the long term there will be blessings.
I can see that after this is over, hopefully there'll be some growth in areas that we didn't focus on.
There's a lot more attention put towards reducing waste. And in that sense, our numbers as far as food and labor costs are the best they've ever been in our history. So that's really exciting.
For me, the start of the pandemic, we've had some employees that's been with me since almost like day one. We've been open for almost 15 years. And we've had people who've been here for, 14 and a half years. And so the thought that they're not going to have money for their families, excuse me. I think it didn't give me an option to close. I mean, you must know, like, after you work with so many people for so long, they become family.
Yes.
And regardless if we close the store or not, my intent was to always pay for people who've been with me through really busy times, really slow times. And the pandemic obviously is global, but we've been through different stages in our business where we've had growth, but we've also had really slow times during, maybe a recession or construction time, and even the building of this cafe. And I felt the pressure to support their families. That actually has driven, me and my husband. My mom actually works here too, to probably work harder than we have in a long time. We worked 7 days, but it was a little bit more challenging, obviously, with the pandemic.
Are there things that you're doing to help you stay positive and optimistic? Or just to get through?
Well, let me just first say thank you to East West Bank, because you proved to be the best financial partner and so easy to talk to. And I really feel East West Bank has our back and has made it a lot easier to get through this tough situation.
During this time, there's so much unknowns, and the bank has been very diligent in emails and calling you back and kind of making you feel secure about, obviously, with the PPP loans and other resources. So they've been just very good about just making me feel like, oh, not to worry. So it's been definitely helpful, that part of it, at least, so we could focus more on the business aspect of it.
This is a great challenge of our generation, of our time, and it's a very hard thing. It's a very painful thing. But I think about past generations and realize that other generations have had things that must have been like hell, maybe even more. World War II and World War I, and there are countless catastrophes that our grandparents, perhaps, and other past generations have had to deal with, and we have to deal with this now. We have to be strong, and I really do believe that the world and humankind, we're evolving. Maybe we evolve in painful ways. much like the Earth does when a new island is created with a volcano. It's almost like that with humankind. And so I'm very confident that this too will be an evolution for humanity that will bring us and will be the ones that weathered the pain and will be admired, hopefully, by the next generation for staying strong and making things better, fixing these issues and making them better for our children.
Shallom, do you think you have any advice for Hailey as someone who has been in the business longer, or for any other entrepreneurs?
Well, everything I've heard Hailey say today, I know that she is doing everything right. And she has the right passion and talent and heart and commitment. And I have no doubt that she will succeed and she will grow as much as she wants to grow. She's exactly like me and my wife. Exactly the same way we approach things. And that's what it takes for any entrepreneur. The advice for entrepreneurs is you have to do what you love and you have to put everything into it. You have to put your whole heart and everything because there's so many moving parts. There's so many obstacles and you just can't make it if profit is your only motive. It's impossible. You have to have a deeper motive. And that's what we have.